All right, so is it justice or vindictive prosecution? The former FBI director James Comey pleading not guilty in court today. Comey is accused of falsely telling a Senate committee in 2020 that he did not authorize a media leak in the Trump-Russia probe that involved President Trump. His lawyers saying they plan to file a motion alleging the charges amount to, as they put it, vindictive prosecution at the direction of the president. Now, the president, as you know, has been no fan of Comey for quite some time, repeatedly urging the Attorney General, Pam Bondi, to bring justice. Just yesterday, Bondi was up on Capitol Hill in the Senate testifying on this issue, but testifying in general. But when she was asked about Comey, it was a lot of this.
I'd like to know from you what conversations you've had with President Trump about the indictment of James Comey.
Senator, I am not going to discuss any conversations I have or have not had with the President of the United States.
See that?
Is it true that the career prosecutors in the Eastern District of Virginia found that there was insufficient evidence to bring criminal charges against former Director Comey?
I am not going to discuss pending cases.
With me now, NewsNation legal contributor, host of the Law and Crime Network, Jesse Weber, with me again. Jesse, hello. Let's cut right to it. What's going on with Comey here?
Yeah, I think there's something happening behind the scenes right now, particularly when you look at Bondi's comments. I think, and this was reported today, there may be a serious weakness in the prosecution's case. And I have to tell you, Blake, I don't think I've seen a criminal defendant more confident than James Comey in quite some time. There was reporting today that the person they're relying this whole case on, Daniel Richmond, this law professor that Comey allegedly authorized to make these leaks, spoke with investigators multiple times and was adamant that Comey told him not to engage with the media, that investigators looked at the correspondence between Comey and Richmond and couldn't find that smoking gun of him authorizing that. And I think when you look at all this, and by the way, Bondi was very careful because making defenses of vindictive prosecution, I think there might be grounds to that, particularly if the president is making these public comments and doesn't want to give Comey any ammunition.
So was Pam Bondi not saying anything, Jesse, because the Attorney General of the United States won't disclose private conversations with the President of the United States, whoever they are and whatever the issues may be? Or was it because the president was posting, nothing is being done, what about Comey? We can't delay any longer. Justice must be served now. You saw it. I saw it. The whole world read it, and she can't defend it.
Because there's an ongoing investigation, she shouldn't say anything. Also, by the way, an attorney general having communications with the president about an ongoing case shouldn't happen. There should be an independence. But also, she will not do anything at this point to give Comey's defense ammunition for vindictive prosecution, because if they could present a case to a judge that this was a prosecution based on not evidence, not facts, not law, then it could get thrown out. There is grounds for that, and I don't think she wants to jeopardize the case in any way.
All right, we'll be here for it. Jesse Weber, NewsNation legal contributor. I'll probably catch you later in the week, sir. Jesse.
Sounds good. Thanks so much, Blake.
Appreciate it.